And these threats.
Oh, absolutely they do, for sure. I think that there's been a very clear perspective coming from the left that there is going to be a finger-pointing opportunity here, and they want it to be somehow negative to Trump's campaign, despite the fact that he is trying to bring people together.
Yes, and I do agree with that, right? But there's definitely harsh rhetoric on both sides, right? You had, I mean, who was the gentleman on the left that said, when they're down, kick them? Like, there's just been a lot
Eric Holder.
Yes. The Eric Holder? Yeah.
Like, he sent one of these packages, by the way.
Yeah.
He was.
So, like, I mean, there is both negative rhetoric, but also, like, Trump during his rallies, when you go, back in the good old days, we would drag people out like that on a stretcher. Like, there's definitely some intense rhetoric on both sides, right? But, like, to me, the broader question is, okay, we're here in this mess. Both sides are fleeing mud at each other. How do we pull back from that and regain civility?
I would actually almost say that it's really the media that's slinging the most mud.
People to tune in and watch their teams and cheer on their teams. They get their people to show up, and left-leaning people will watch CNN and MSNBC and be like, you guys are right. You are the victims. Donald Trump is evil.
People are saying that it's a ploy to make Trump look better somehow, or it's something that is targeting Democrats and Trump's support. Whatever it is, there's an underlying concept here that the idea of political terrorism being perpetrated by people within any American party system is acceptable and plausible, as opposed to saying that this is something that should be so far outside of whatever could possibly happen in the United States.
I don't feel like that's evidence of, like, this is a scam.
Sure.
But it is something I think you can raise an eyebrow at. I just want to push back on that a little bit, because I've seen people say, well, I mean, someone on Twitter, I just read this, and it was just like, well, if a Republican sent those bombs, they would have worked. And I was like, what are you saying? Like,
why would you want to take credit for that?
Exactly. I was like, do you want people to blow? Like, it made no sense.
Well,
I just want to make sure, like, obviously you're not implying that.
No, but especially because, let's face it.
Confirmed to the Supreme Court. They were literally rubbing their faces on the door of the Supreme Court, thinking that would do something and clawing at it like something was going to change, losing their minds. The right doesn't behave like this. The left does. And then the right has to react.
I do think that
Asylum seekers.
What we owe them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I mean,
Kayla?
here's the thing.
Come on.
Okay, so I am very pro-immigration.
Okay.
Right? That's a topic that I'm actually extremely passionate about. The hard part I have about this Caravan issue is that we've never really seen anything like this, per se.
Well, there was the one attempt. How long was that, a year ago?
Not even. A couple of months ago.
Was it? God, it feels like.
But this seems like the most organized attempt, and the timing is very interesting as well, right? So I haven't really thought through logistically, what do we do with these 7,000 plus people coming to the border? But I think it's just really going to inflame a lot of anti-immigrant myths out there, right? Because I don't feel like any of these people are actually dangerous.
Well, you know who it's really going to set off? And what happens with this debate, who it really angers, are the legal immigrants who spent years trying to come to America and going through the process. Your legal Hispanic people, your legal
to this country. But if we incentivize being able to just walk across the border, then it is completely unfair to the people who have followed the system. And it also sends a message to the rest of the world that our immigration policies are a joke.
Well, they are, because this is happening, or people think that this can happen, or at least the perception of
the underlying thinking that allows people to believe that they will successfully be able to do this means that they are.
You look angry.
Well, I'm just thinking right now, right? So, like, on one hand, right, we have a really complicated, overly complicated legal immigration process, right?
Sure.
But then you also think our system's a joke, right? Because is it too strict? Is that why it's a joke, or is it just a public perception problem?
I think that the fact that we have these strict laws that are so convoluted that it's hard for people to follow, which then incentivizes people to just try to walk across, creates a broader problem. The fact that they think that they can do so successfully indicates to me that our system is not being enforced, and also that our reputation internationally is not where it should be.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I do think there's a reason why these people are coming to the United States, and it's not because we're a joke. It's because it's a great country, and these people are
not
fleeing.
According to the left.
Well,
it's a terrible place.
These people are fleeing, a failing government. They're fleeing high crime areas. They're seeking better lives.
What's interesting to me, though, is that if safety is the goal, if immediate physical safety is the goal, you don't have to come to the United States. Like, if you are trying to exit Venezuela or Honduras, you don't have to immediately seek the United States. Like, if your goal is immediate safety, you found it, so you can find it.